Hi, I'm Bert Kinnister, and this is the Tight Pocket 60-minute workout for 9-ball. This is a no-nonsense workout designed to give you the tools that you have to play 9-ball. This is shot number 1, and it is the most important shot in pool. This shot will create a stroke where there is no stroke. I can't overemphasize to you the importance of being able to shoot this shot correctly. This is going to create a stroke that is consistent, that you can rely on to do the same thing every time. Now, the emphasis of this shot is not to stop the cue ball where the 1 ball is, as you might think immediately. It's to take the place of the 1 ball. The cue ball has to take the place of the 1 ball. This can only be done with a perfect hit. I use completely center ball, an absolutely level stroke. Now the key to making that cue ball replace the 1 ball is the speed of the stroke. This is a completely center ball shot. When it just starts, the cue ball just starts to turn over when it makes the collision with the object ball. It takes that one roll. The importance of this shot is that this is the hardest you should ever have to shoot a ball playing 9-ball. You can make the cue ball go anywhere on the table. I don't care who you are, you're shooting the balls too hard. The key to playing good pool is, number 1, is to create a tremendous stroke. This is going to do that, but the speed of your stroke, you have to understand that what you've been seeing when you see champions play, you see good players play, when a champion shoots a ball in, it looks like it's been shot hard, so other people shoot it hard because they think that's what they've seen. But you're going to find that less than half of your full speed or your normal speed is more than adequate to get anything done. And the slower you hit the balls, the more accurately you're going to hit the balls. Now, I want you to line up here. Use your body. If you're not exactly on line, use your body to correct your aim. You know, there's 3 tapes in this series playing run-out 9-ball. We talk more about that in tape 2 and tape 3. Watch here. Now, number 5, when I hit this ball, you're going to be able to see the blue circle just roll over. The blue circle is just going to turn over. That lets you know that it just started to roll forward. I can't emphasize how important this shot is. Now, the biggest problem with this shot is me trying to see, did you see the blue circle just turn over? The biggest problem here is getting you to believe how much this shot will do for your game. If you're not a very good player, I want you to shoot this shot in for an hour every day until you start doing it with some regularity. You have to have a good stroke to continue. The difference between good players and great players is their stroke. Replace that ball. Okay. When you aim this shot, you aim with your body. If you want to make a correction, if you don't feel in line, don't twist your body around. You want to reduce the moving parts in your body to as few as humanly possible, and you have to get used to using your body to aim with where your feet are. If you're not lined up, change your foot position. Move your back. I usually move my back foot to put myself in line. Sometimes you're going to have to move your front foot. You have to be vitally aware that your foot position is everything. Where your feet, because you don't want to twist your body. Any twists on your body, any extra muscle movement is something that can go wrong during your stroke. Watch how to hit this ball. You want to replace this ball. Now, this is very important that you understand it. Every other day in your workout, you shoot this ball in exclusively. Use this shot every other day for an hour until that stroke is perfect. And even when that stroke is perfect, you keep doing this every other day in the workout. It can't be stressed how important this is. Every other day, you shoot this shot in 100 times. You shoot the 9-ball in now. I mean, look how the cue ball replaces the ball. That's what's so important. You develop everything here. You see if there's left or right English on the cue ball. You want nothing. You want the center ball hit. After a few weeks of this, you'll start to feel the unique feeling and hear the unique sound of a center ball hit. We cannot overstress how important this shot is. Shot number 1 will create a perfect stroke In shot number 2, we'll give you one of the most valuable assets that you'll ever have playing 9-ball, the ability to use a perfect stroke combined with speed to hit the ball as easy as possible accurately. This shot is to be shot in the corner pocket. See, I blocked off one part of the corner pocket so you can see how large the pocket is and where the real fat spot is. Watch what happens here. Oh, I touched it and still. That's a good idea. I'm going to try and touch a few of them so you can see how to aim with your body, and then I'll try and miss a few wide. But the idea here is to hit this ball as soft as possible and still make the ball. This can't be done if you put right or left angle. It can only be done with a perfect hit and a perfect stroke. And this definitely creates it. Let's see if I can hit that white thing again. You bear down and you deliver the cue right through the cue ball. You deliver the tip of the cue right through the cue ball. I missed the white thing. I'm going to try and hit it again. I'm going to try and hit it a couple times just to show you the accuracy that can be developed with a soft stroke. You can be as deadly accurate with a soft stroke as you ever were with a hard one. I don't care who you are. You're hitting them too hard. I know you're hitting them too hard. Let this work for you. Ooh, I hit it, I knocked it in. You're going to try to avoid that. If you're knocking that ball in, you're not in the fat side of the pocket. You're shooting where the pocket really isn't. Let's see if I can just touch that ball. Just touch that white thing we have in the corner blocking the pocket. Perfect stroke. Directly through the center. Come on, I can do it. There it is. All right. I'm going to try and do that again just so you can see how you can duplicate the exact shot time after time. And you do that by setting your body up right, and your stroke is a given. Once you've developed your stroke, it does the same thing every time. As level as you can from there, straight through the center of the ball from the angle that you're addressing it. Let me see if I can hit that white thing one more time. Nope, but I'm right. That's exactly the center of the pocket drop. There's a lot of room over on what would be your right side also, and we're going to show you that in a minute. I want to try and touch that ball at least a couple more times, just so you can see. Consistency has to become a part of your game. This is how you develop consistency, by learning what it feels like to set down in the same spot time after time. Reduce the moving parts in your body to none. There, I got it. None. When you stroke that ball, only as few things in your body should be moving as possible. Even your jaw should be shut. Your teeth should be meeting each other, but not clenched, but under control. Your whole body needs to be under control. I'm going to try and hit it one more time, and then I'm going to show you the fat side of the pocket. Just so you can, here it comes. Duplicate exactly what you did before. Exactly what you did before. I missed it. That's the dead center of what you're aiming at. You say, well, Bert, if that's the dead center, that means I can almost hit the rail to what would be your right side and still pocket that ball. And that's true, because the slower you hit it, the bigger that pocket gets. I'm going to try and hit it as far to the right and still make it as possible now. Watch how large this pocket is. And I changed where I'm standing. I didn't move my arm or my body around. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Look how far, does it look like, look at, I hit the rail over there and I bring that ball home. These are not drop pockets on this pool table either. That's pocket speed, the correct speed, and the hit. I'm going to try and hit it as far outside as I can on this one too. I change where I'm standing imperceptibly and do exactly the same shot as I did with the former balls. No moving parts, just as few moving parts as possible. Concentrate. Straight through the ball. Look how far outside I hit that ball. I can't emphasize to you enough how important it is to realize where the pocket really is. Look at the distance here. Look at this. I hit way out there and still brought it in. The center of that is where the real pocket is. It's vital that you understand that. All right, this is the other part of shot number 2. This shot, you could start by keeping the cue ball closer to the object ball if you can't do this. This shot develops the perfect stroke. This shot should be hit the same speed as shot number 1. You're going to draw this cue ball up into the corner pocket by coming straight through the ball. You can't do it any other way. Watch it. This shot trains you. Look at it. Straight through the ball like it's a bullet. Once you make contact, don't be swinging it around to try and help the English. You come straight through the ball like it's a bullet. If you can't do that, you're never going to attain any high degree of success playing 9-ball or any other pocket billiard game. I'm going to exaggerate my stroke here. I'm going to leave the cue down on the table. The cue ball will come running right back at the cue, run right into the pocket. Watch how I do this. You have to come straight through at that angle. Look at it. Look at it come straight back to the tip of the cue. There it is, straight back into the pocket. This shot teaches you to come straight through the ball. On every shot you shoot the rest of your life, you come straight through the ball. You alter where you hit the ball by your bridge hand, raising, lowering, moving it right or to the left. Don't move the butt end of your cue for right or left, up or down. You have to move the bridge hand, and your stroke does the same thing. Let's see if we can do it one more time. Really have to concentrate. There it is. You have to get the cue out of the way. It's a perfect shot. This creates that. This is shot number 3. We're going to start dealing with the center of the table and with putting a little English on the cue ball. You have to deliver the tip of the cue stick through the cue ball the same way you have in shot 1 and shot 2. At first, this shot's going to look easy, but we're going to start shooting at a target, and the most used target in 9-ball is the middle of the table. You've got to know how to get the cue ball to the middle of the table from everywhere. This looks simple, but it's not quite as easy as you think. Number 1, I know you're hitting the balls too hard. Let's watch one first here. It's vitally important that you learn to put the cue ball on that line. First learn the shot number, then learn the line, then work on the speed to make it stop where you want. I want to tell you about the English that I use, but everybody hits the balls a little different and different equipment. I want you to create the English you need to accomplish these shots yourselves. Then you'll be learning. I deliver that ball, I deliver the cue ball here with just left English. There's no high, there's no low. For me, this is just left English with a dead level cue with a perfect speed. It's vital, though, that you get the line, because the line through the center of the table is a no-scratch line unless you're going from corner to corner. Perfect speed. Deliver the cue right through there. Perfect. You've got to be able to get on that line. If you go farther down table, you can't scratch passing through the center of the table there. First, learn the shot number, then learn to put the cue on the correct line, then develop the speed control that you need to stop it on that 4-inch circle. Ooh, I swung the cue way out there, but I did all right. A lot of correction in that stroke. It's hard to put this together on tape. Hard to keep your concentration. Well, you've really got to bring all of yourself to this. They say, Paul, well, I teach social science at the university, and we equate a top billiard player with a brain surgeon. Concentrate. I had a little high English on that ball that slowed it down and staggered it just a tad. It's another correction I made at the last second. This is shot number 4. 3 rails back out to the middle of the table. I can't overemphasize how important the middle of the table is. Your real target in these shots is where the cue ball goes, being able to put the cue ball in a certain spot. The most important thing you do is get it on the right line, and then you need to control the speed to get it into a certain spot. Remember, at 9-ball, it's not how many hard shots in a row that you make that makes you a player, it's how many easy shots in a row you make that makes you a player. You set up, you take your perfect line, you get the cue stick right through the cue ball, directly through the cue ball. When you set these shots up, you can vary them a little bit for yourself. Make sure you're setting them up at first where you can make them. Or come very close to making them. The important thing here is to be putting this cue ball on the right line. The line through the center of the table is never a scratch unless it's going from pocket to pocket. It's vital that you remember that, and then that's a line that you'll know which side of you want to be on when you're moving the cue ball around the table. Let's concentrate and put this right back on the paper. All right, a couple more and then we'll move on. These first few shots, you're shooting 5 or so times, then we're going to go down to 3 or so. By now you should be getting to be in stroke. You've shot 20 or 30 balls. You should be delivering that Q-tip through the cue ball pretty good by now. Let's get it on the perfect line. And bring it right to the paper. Bring it right to the center of the paper. But important, look where if that cue ball continued on up the table, it could never scratch if it went through the black part of that paper. Bring all of your intensity, good, concentrate, keep your muscles relaxed, nothing really firm, as few moving parts to your body here as possible, stroke it pure. On to shot number 5. Number 5 is a 2 rails to the middle of the table. This also is a shot. It can be set up several different ways, and when you move these shots half an inch one way or another to cue ball, you're going to find it's harder and harder to get the cue ball where you want it to go. When you set these shots up for yourself after you've learned them, you can change things a little bit every day. You get a better conception of what the cue ball will actually do after it's made contact with the object ball. This is 2 rails out to the center of the table. You have to memorize the numbers of these shots. This is shot number 5. Say it to yourself before each shot. You're giving yourself a separate and discrete place in your mind for each shot. I played 1,000,000 games of 9-ball in my life before I started naming each individual shots, and 1,000,000 games after, and it's dramatic just how recognizing each shot and giving it its own name, a variation of that shot, its own name, how much easier they are to recall and perform correctly. You notice we're only using 3 balls now, and we're starting to hit the ball a little better. If you can see, I'm coming straight through the ball now. I'm more in stroke. We'll put this ball, and we'll come right back, and we'll get our perfect line. Now remember, watch the line. Just carry that line farther on. You can see what you're learning is no scratch line. It's imperative never to scratch at 9-ball. If you can just eliminate scratches from your game, you're going to move your game up a notch. When you come upon a situation where a scratch looks like it might be there, don't shoot the ball. This is shot number 6. And you draw the cue ball right out to the center of the table. We're back where we've seen this ball here before. Now we want to be able to place this ball right back in the center of the table. We don't ever want to scratch cross-side, and you can't scratch cross-corner if you don't use low English. You need a little bit I use a little low on this, but maybe, a third of a tip low, and the rest is right English for me there. Just a little to make it back up before it hits the rail. You've got to concentrate on these shots. Don't take your eyes off the ball as you're moving around. Don't look around the room. Watch the point on the ball that you've got to hit. Bring that, put it back in the center. Okay, let's bring it straight back. Concentrate. Follow through. Straight through the ball. Look at it. Straight through the ball. Now I'm starting to hit the balls better. Straight through, right there. Right there. Let's do it one more time. Look how good that line is, how it brings you up to the other end of the table without a scratch. No chance of scratching. A lot of people use too much low on this. Don't use too much low. Straight through the ball. Concentrate. You've got your solid foundation. You come straight through the ball. Now, shot number 7 is a variation of this same shot. But you want to bring the cue ball across for a shot on the other side of the table. We could have set all of these up and numbered the table, but I think it's important. You have to have a target to end that cue ball on, because
having that target, it helps you hit it. Notice how I put the paper a cue ball's width away from the rail, how I use the cue ball to measure that. It's important that you learn never to let the cue ball land on a rail. You have to have that little bit of extra speed that it takes to get it off the rail. In this case, we're going to hit it soft enough that it never gets to the rail. If the ball can never get to the rail, it can never scratch cross-side. I developed this soft stroke to keep from ever scratching. Just bring it straight across table. Very little English involved. Very little English involved. Just a pure stroke. If you put in right English on that, I would say no more than 1/8 of a tip, if you can believe that. English, to me, the most English I ever put on a ball is a full Q-tip. And that's very rare, because you can get English to take with the purity of the hit. Very little English on that shot. Now, sometimes you're going to need to go back and forth across the table. And that's what you're learning here to do, is go right straight across the table without touching the other rail. It's easier to hit it harder, use the other rail to slow you down, but sometimes you're going to scratch. If you learn this speed, and it's easily learnable, you're not going to be scratching. Not hit as good as the rest, but that's okay. Now when you have to get back to the other side of the table, that's shot 8. You want to go one rail and back to the other side of the table. You take the time between these shots to set up the next shot, to put the target on the other side. If you have somebody helping you and setting up the shots for you, it might help you get in stroke, but what you're going to learn, you're going to be playing and you're going to be in stroke, and you need to be in stroke to play good. Here, there's pauses between each shot so that you can bring your entire mind to each shot. If you come up from your chair, this is what it's teaching you, to come up from your chair without being in stroke and using your knowledge and ability to execute coming in fresh for each shot instead of relying on being in stroke to play. Knowledge and ability to execute, and your memory is playing a big part here. See, we don't have the tape. We can't get a good clean shot at this one ball. What we want to do is we want to bring the cue ball across table, one rail, 2 rails on the other side, and bring it back to land on the paper without hitting this third rail, without hitting this rail again. It's tough to get this speed down, but you're going to learn this faster than you think you are. Take the time to do this workout 1 hour every day. You're not going to believe how fast you come up. Let's see. I think I hit it too hard. I did. I hit it too hard. I did just what I told you not to do. I hit it into the other rail. We have to really concentrate now. I saw my mistake. Learn from my mistake. Take something off of that ball. Sometimes just a place you hit the cue ball with the same stroke will take something off the ball. You've got to be so aware and learn to play all over the cue ball. Take something off of this ball and hit it perfect. Yeah, that's it. That's the shot. You see how it came off the second rail? Just to its spot on the table. You're going to find yourself saying, and the cue ball right to its spot on the table. This is going to really give you the accuracy you need to play 9-ball, the accuracy with the cue ball. You're going to be putting that cue ball where it's got to be. Let's see if I can do it one more time without hitting that other rail. Straight back to where I need that cue ball to be. It looks good. I hit it pure. I hit it pure. That's so important, because if you do hit the ball bad, you can't scratch cross-side. Now this shot number 9 is a real thin cut. You know, you're going to need to be able to get back and forth across the table with a thin cut. So lots of times when you've got this thin cut, you're going to need to be back on the side of the table that you're on. This is also a practice for the break shot, because you hit this almost as hard as you can with no English, straight on. This is the same thing as a break shot. Watch how hard I hit it. See how hard that is? Here coming back towards, and this shot, if you get the 5th rail, that's okay. It could be hit harder. That's about 90% of my power. It could be hit harder. It would come farther off of that 5th rail. This is nothing. This is the same thing as a break shot. Nothing on this cue ball. You've got to learn to hit the balls pure, even hard. Look, that was a nice shot. That was a nice stroke. See how I stay down till I'm finished. That Q-tip finishes accelerating through that ball. That Q-tip finishes moving through the cue ball before I move. On a shot like that, it's important you get up pretty quick, though. because you can get hit in the head if you hit it bad. This shot will come back right in your face. Let up on it. See how it kills off that rail and comes straight back into the circle? And this is a nice short draw shot, number 10. It's imperative you've got this in the arsenal. This is where you get it. We put the target back in the center of the table. Again, we're moving the target around the table because we want you to interrupt your play, because your play is going to be interrupted in the real world. And if you have to constantly play to be in stroke, to play, that's not good. You've got to be able to come up out of your chair and play well. We're going to draw this ball back to the center of the table. It's about, depending on the table, you're using 1 or 1.5, 18-inch, 2-foot draw. It's got to be done well with a consistent speed to your stroke. Remember, if you're drawing past the target, give yourself a little more cue ball. Don't hit it as low. You can use the same speed stroke and just hit it a half a tip below center. If you hit the balls pretty hard, hit this a half a tip below center. But watch where you hit it. The hit on a cue ball is so vitally important. Perfect. Yeah. You see how that just comes back? That was a pretty firm stroke, about a half a tip below center for me. That doesn't mean that's where you're going to be hitting the ball. Just learn for yourself. What your stroke does and what my stroke will do are two different things. You're looking for uniformity and consistency. Deliver this with the same degree of concentration as shot number 1. Ooh, what a powerful weapon you're developing when you can control the cue ball that well. And it comes faster than you're going to believe. Don't watch this tape and put it down. Use this tape. I absolutely guarantee this will turn you into a 9-ball player. There's no chance in the world that using this tape won't work for you. You have to use it. Bring this ball back. Hit it good. Ooh, I swooped through that. I swooped through it. Did you see it? I corrected it the last minute. I swooped through there. This is shot number 11. This is a real important shot, and it's a tough shot. We're going to run 6 balls in the side pockets. You set the balls up about even with the point on the pocket, about a ball away, so that they can be made. Now, when you pocket a ball, you're going to put another ball up, and the object is to get back out to the middle of the table on each shot to keep the run going. Do it for at least 6 shots. What's good about this shot is if you don't hit the exact black center, every place that you land, as long as you can make the next ball, you're going to need different kind of English to get back to the center of the table. You learn so much about the side pockets with this shot. It's amazing. It's one of the most important shots that you'll learn. The side pockets, you have to be able to control the cue ball when you have to use the sides. You try to avoid the sides as much as possible because they will have a tendency to put you out of line. You won't see any shots in this workout that involve the side pockets where the balls could be hit somewhere else. We're just going to show you how to use the side pockets when you have to, because it's the only time you should be using them. This ball here requires a completely different hit than the other ball in the first shot to get back out towards the center of the table. This is where you learn those different hits, the different kinds of English. Here's a little hint. People mess around with the start of this forever trying to use English. The first shot is dead center ball. The English is put on it right off of the rail. When I mean shot number 1, when you shoot the 1 ball in and the cue ball's in the center of the table, dead center English. Now this isn't. There's English on this ball. Every inch it moves off of that paper changes how you've got to hit it. But the first one, remember, is dead center ball. All right, now we're going to try and get back to the center of the table for the last 2 shots. On the last shot, it's nice to finish this wherever you end up off of the 5. If you can use that position to get the cue ball right back into the black, you know you're really starting to control your stroke. Long bridge. Did you see how straight I came through that? Oh, I'm going to come high at that. I missed it there, but this shot's completely different than the last shot. This is how we learn it. We're going to bring that cue ball back to the black part of this paper. Concentrate on what you have to do it. Straight through. Nice stroke, nice stroke. See, the English gave it the speed. Come on. And there it is. This is shot 12, another speed shot. This is a brutally important shot, vitally important if you want to play 9-ball and be able to control that cue ball. You've got to take care of the cue ball. If you take care of the cue ball, it will take care of you. All we're going to do here is come straight out to the middle of the table. Maybe a tenth of a Q-tip of right English I might have used there. Very, very little English. I shoot this ball myself when I practice. I put it farther towards the center of the table. I make it much harder. You need to learn how far the ball will roll in conjunction with how far the cue ball will roll after it's struck an object ball. This is a pure shot. It needs to be hit perfectly, accurately, softly. Straight to that spot on that table. Straight to that spot on the table. Here comes the 3-ball. Let's concentrate. Let's do it exactly like that again. Repeat the same thing over and over. The consistency that you will achieve, it'll be frightening you'll get to it so quick. A couple of months of this workout will do so much for you that you won't really believe it. Now, shot number 13 is very important because it teaches you the deflection inherent in your particular cue stick. That's this shot. You learn the 3-rail position to the center of the table, yes, but you're also learning the deflection from your particular cue stick. You aim this ball to hit what would be you, the viewer's left side of the pocket with high right English. And the deflection, I mean, that's high left English, excuse me. The deflection, it deflects over to pocket the ball and then goes for the center of the table. It's not as important. You want it on that line, but what you're learning here is the deflection. Now, you're aiming at the left-hand side, the viewer's left-hand side of the pocket with high left English. The high left makes it deflect. Now, you'll have to aim more or less of the left-hand side of that pocket, depending on the deflection of your cue stick. Do you see the cue ball deflect out to pocket the ball and then get its line for the center of the table? This is vital that you understand. Every cue stick's different and makes the cue ball deflect differently. This is where you learn to handle the deflection in your own cue stick. Concentrate, and let's put this one right back on the spot. I hit it good. I hit it pretty good. A little crisp, but it's all right. This is shot number 14. Another vitally important shot that you learn to play 9-ball. The speed control of these shots, the line you put them on, this is 9-ball. It took me, I played 9-ball, good 9-ball, for more than 10 or 15 years before I learned this, and you can't imagine how my game's improved now. This workout gave me the consistency that I'm not worried about, can I do this, can I do that? I know I can do that. I see a situation and I recognize it as a variation or sometimes exactly this shot that I've practiced so many times. I can recall it by number. It has a discrete place in my memory and I can execute it again perfectly, time after time. Concentrate. Oh, I'm getting in stroke here because I'm starting to hit them faster. Am I hitting them any less accurate? No. And I'm coming straight through the ball. You can too. It can happen faster than you would believe it can. Just by the time you've memorized these shots and have learned to recognize them in 7 to 10 days from now, you're not going to believe just what that alone is going to do for your 9-ball game. Hit it good. Hit it good. Now there's a shot here that we're not going to show you where it goes farther on down to the other end of the table and you slow it down with the 2 rails. You can work on that. This is shot 15. This is where we draw the cue ball over to 1 rail and back to the center of the table. This is an intricate shot, and it needs to be worked with. Now, this is going to have very little draw on it, just enough to make it come off of the 1 ball at a 90-degree angle, and the English on it's going to make it come off of the rail at a 45-degree angle onto the paper. It's a nice line for the other end of the table, too. This is another shot that's a nice line for the other end of the table. Look at it, straight across, and then the English. When you have the English, it increases the speed of the ball off the rail. If you hit this ball properly, when you see it moving across to the side rail, you're not going to think it has enough speed for the cue ball to ever attain the middle of the table. Let's see if we can show you here with this shot. Comes straight across to the rail, and then the English creates both the speed and the angle to bring it to the center of the table. Straight through this ball, though. Straight through. Look at straight across. Look at the English bring it up there. Did you see the speed it picked up off of that rail? It's vitally important. You can be doing this so much sooner than you've ever believed you can. And when these things occur in the games, you're not going to believe how these shots are assembled to create a devastating run-out game. Let's see if we can come over there real slow to the rail and let that English just hook it right to that gun. Look at how slow. Never looked like it would make the center of the table. There it is in the center of the table. Okay, shot number 16 is real important. It's kind of a generic shot because we're going to have the cue ball end up in the middle of the table on the end rail here. Notice where we put the spot. At least the paper will go down about a cue ball width from the rail, because it's important that you don't use the rails to stop the cue ball on the rail. You have to learn to keep the cue ball off the rail so you can have angles on your next shot and keep moving it around the table. Now this shot, we're going to come 2 rails. We're going to shoot a ball in the side pocket. Here we have another ball. Or not, I'm not in the side pocket, I'm sorry. Here we have another ball. We're going to have to come off of 2 rails, and we want to bring it to the center of the table. That would give us a shot at either corner with a good angle to move the cue ball wherever we want it to go. We have to see, the reason this is so important to practice, it comes up all the time, and lots of people load that cue ball up and they scratch in the corner pockets. When they come across that first rail, they just scratch over there because they all want to use that high left. You use a little bit of high, you use an eighth of a tip of left English, if you use that much. Just that pure stroke, watch it. You see it? That little bit of English killed off that second rail and brings it right back to the center of the table. If you use a full tip of English, you probably end up 3 rails out of the corner or scratching in the corner. The scratches must be removed from your game. This is imperative that you learn to recognize this shot, how to shoot it, and know that the scratch is not on. Back to the center of the table. All right, all right. Really a nice little shot, something that you really need in your arsenal. Number 17, this can be shot several ways. Here's the way I like to shoot it. You're coming all the way down table now, the length of the table for position at the other end of the table. We're going to put a piece of paper anywhere we land. See, we're using the cue ball again. Make sure that wherever you're planning to land is at least a cue ball away from the rail if you're going to continue to run balls playing 9-ball. So many good players get the right angles, but they stop the cue on the rail coming off of other rails, and it's just wrong. That's the difference between good and great. And it's nothing. You just got to put that ball right there. Now, a lot of players used to come off of this and then hit the long rail to slow the cue ball down to come on that paper. And, you know, that's okay. You see what I'm saying? I come straight up and I use the speed of my stroke to stop that ball. I don't use the long rail. A lot of players will play that cue ball into the long rail, and the reason I don't like that is it works. You can hit a little harder, true, and it works fantastic in practice. You do it time after time, but when it comes up a serious shot, when it means something, I have had the side pocket interfere with this shot so much in my life that I'm convinced this is the right way to shoot it. Straight to the ball, straight to the paper, right up the table, and the speed control is the important thing. The point on that side pocket, when you try to use that long rail to slow the cue ball down, that point looms large. I've even scratched in there from there. But if you hit the point in front or the second point in the side pocket, you're doomed. And whenever I need this shot for real, that's what happens. I hit that point. So I believe this is the very best way to shoot it. You may be on a line straight for the pocket, but that's okay because you won't scratch. Shot number 18, we're going to move the cue ball a couple of rails down table now. This is 2 rails or 3 rails, and you set this up initially where you can actually get the shot. You know, you want to be able to move this cue ball those 2 rails. So you set it up. See, I got it near the pocket. When I practice it, I move it back towards the center of the table where there's a lot of nuances to this shot. But you draw this ball. First it's got to draw, and then the English has to take. See how I draw it? And into that 3rd rail, short. Did you notice where it crossed the center of the table? Okay, let's do this again. This is set it up initially easy, and then when you move the balls just imperceptibly, a few inches, everything changes, and you need a pure and pure stroke. But it's imperative you be able to get back down to the other end of the table. 1, absolutely without scratching. 2, off of the rail. 3, and get that nice line for the next shot. You have to maintain your angles. If you brought that all the way up to the end of the table, to the top rail, you won't be able to move around the table. You won't have the angles you need. You have to maintain the angles. These shots are teaching you how to maintain the angles. I hit that one real pure, straight through, right to the center of the paper. Shot number 19. Shot number 19 is similar to a shot we shot a couple of seconds ago, but if there's balls in the way you can't use that, you need to know this speed. When you're stuck using the side pocket, you're forced to use the side pocket to come out to the middle of the table where you have an angle on the next shot. It's easy to get down to the rail. Easy to get the middle of the table on the rail, use the rail to stop you, but you won't always have an angle for a cue ball or an object ball on one of those rails. It's imperative you know how to stop it where you'll have an angle on the next shot. This shot doesn't look like much, but the next time it comes up, you're going to remember how to shoot it, and you're not going to come down to this end rail. You're not going to get out of line. You're going to be where you can continue your run. And it may not look like much, but I know when you're starting to do these things, these are a little harder than they look, aren't they? I mean, the key here is cue ball control. You don't ever want a hard shot. You want to shoot easy shot after easy shot after easy shot. And the shots only stay easy if you maintain the angle so you can get onto the next ball. This is shot number 20. And it's brutally important that you remember how to get this ball down table coming off of these two rails. We're going to come off of two short rails onto the long rail here for position down table. Now, you set this shot up, experiment with it a couple of times, set it up where you can continually come in short. Now, I move these balls around, as I've said before, and I set myself up a shot here. I set it up in several variations, and these variations are, the cue ball's a half an inch different than where it was on the last shot, or an inch different with the one ball near the center of the table. And you'll find that there's tons of different things that you can do, that you have to do to stay on the right side of that black spot, to come in short of that corner pocket where there'll never be a scratch. As for now, though, what you're trying to control that speed. You're controlling the speed, your stroke is perfect, everything you've got is right here. Bring it to the game. See, there's a little bit of, that's almost 3/4 of a Q-tip of high English, and maybe a third, not even a third, a quarter of a Q-tip of right English on that. Because the high English forces that cue ball forward before it gets to the second rail. If it doesn't, there's a scratch on there. You'll feel it, you'll learn this as you're shooting. That way you can get down table with authority. You can get down table without worrying about it. The more high you have, the sooner it goes into that shot. The sooner it goes into the rail in that shot. This is shot 21. We're going to come back to the same place on the table. This is important. This is a variation of another shot that we've already had. It's important that you can continue to bring that ball on down table. Now, we didn't have it. We have shots split up like this. It's for a reason. If they're two shots that are similar, we want you to get used to shooting them differently from each other, apart from each other. We want each shot to have a discrete place in your mind, and we want your memory to be able to recall it, and then your body to be able to execute it. So you don't have to be in stroke, you have to be awake. You see what we're doing here? We're just coming to two rails onto that paper. You use right English here, more than, maybe a little bit of draw here, but if you use just right, there's no scratch anywhere. The right English will come in with a nice angle for no scratch. Most people, when they use right or left, they always use it with high or low English also, and that's entirely wrong. There might be 1/8 of a Q-tip low English on that ball, just to bring it back a little. It doesn't really need to be there. The key to getting back and forth up and down the table is right and left English. When you see variations of this shot, think about it. Do you want low? No. If you use enough low here, you can even scratch in the corner. Just use that little bit of right English and bring it right onto the center of the paper, just like that. This is shot number 22. This is another shot where you come right out to the middle of the table. Take the time. Remember, we could have put all these shots together and you wouldn't be moving the paper around, but this serves a purpose. You do something else and you come back to the game. Don't let your concentration fade. You have to learn to maintain the concentration through interruptions. This serves a vital purpose. Don't overcome this by trying to group shots together where you don't have to do some work. The work you're doing here is when you come back down to shoot this ball, now you have to bring all your concentration. You've got to come on with it. This is how you do it. This is 2 rails out of the corner, back to the center of the table. Straight through that ball. You see, to get to the center of this table, you've got to draw that ball a little bit, and then the spin does it. You draw it to the rail with the low left English. This is almost a full Q-tip below center. You come straight through with good left English, maybe 3/4 of a Q-tip below center with good left English. See the spin? The spin bring it out there? It's the English that does it. You hardly have to hit this ball. A good follow through. If you shoot the same stroke, the stroke should be consistent, uniform, straight through that part of the ball. See how it drew towards the corner? Come right back up on the table. Well, I missed it there, but that's okay. All right, this is shot number 23. This is another side pocket shot. You should have learned something from shot 11 that will help you with this shot. We don't want to use the side pockets any more than humanly possible when we're playing pool. Well, I must not have had it set up for shot 23. 23 is definitely on the other side of the table. That's right. Remaining consistent with my own rules, I try to move things around, break up the routine as much as possible so that I practice refocusing my concentration. There's the paper, a ball's width away from the rail. That's so important. If you're going to land on that rail, you're a dead man. You know, you're going to be giving up that paycheck you're not going to win playing 9-ball. Now, what did we learn from shot number 11? Where do we want to cross that? Did we put English on this ball? How did we get there? Did we use English, or was that a center ball hit, just like the start of number 6? We've got to learn how to use the balls that are stuck in the side pocket and can't be shot anyplace else and still maintain our angles and still stay in line. This has got to be hit very good. I don't use any English on that. If I have to overcut it into the pocket, I'll overcut it in it. If you start to use even a little dab of English, what you're going to do is send Whitey sailing towards that corner pocket. The last thing you want to do here is scratch. Use what you've learned. Remember what you've learned. This is shot number 23. No English. The English is picked up off the first rail from the hit. There it is, right in the center of the table. All right, now we want to get down table with a variation of shot number 22. This is shot number 24. Before you shoot each shot, say, this is shot 22, 20, whatever the respective shot. Keep saying it and saying it and saying it to yourself until you've memorized it. It should take you 7 to 10 days of doing just this workout the way it is every day, saying the shots to yourself to have memorized all of the shots by number. You won't believe how much that helps. Now we got to draw it into that corner a little deeper and get all the way down. Now, see? A little deeper. There's definitely a scratch here. There's a scratch. You can draw it straight into that corner pocket. Be aware of that scratch. That's what you're learning not to do. You're flirting with death with that corner pocket, but you don't have any other way down table to get onto this spot to maintain the angle to keep running out. You got to draw it almost into this pocket. Look where you're drawing this ball to. There was a lot of spin on that ball. I overcame my lack of draw there with spin, and I still got up there. It's not the heart of the pocket. I'm going to try and draw this ball deep into that pocket without scratching and come back real short. I'm going to try and give it a little bit more low English and draw deep into this pocket. Let's see if I can do it. Look at that. Deep into the pocket. You see how much shorter I came out? Look at where I'm at on the paper. How much nicer that is. That's a better spot to be than it was to be on the other side of that paper. All right, this is shot number 25. It's a very advanced shot. It teaches you how to jump the ball, use high ball jump, center ball jump, and low ball jump. We're not going to show you the low ball jump here because I didn't have enough of a Q-tip to execute it. My Q-tip was worn down with a little ferrule exposed, and I tore the table up while I was trying to do this. But you put the 2 balls together, you set this down where you set it for shot number 1, then you give yourself a ball blocking the cue ball. Freeze these 2 balls up. Now you're going to shoot this with high ball jump. What you want the cue ball to do is jump up in the air, come down on the rail next to the 1, then fly forward and come all the way back up table for position on the 3. It's not as hard as it looks. We're only going to do it once because This is for those of you who need this, who shoot a lot of pool and get into this situation. You can shoot this shot easy, easy, easy till you learn to shoot over the ball. But if you want to learn to use high ball jump, this is how you do it. Stroke it pure. Did you see that? Jumped up in the air, came down on the rail, and flew back down table. Now, we want you to know that when you come down on a ball like that, there's center ball jump that you can shoot the ball and keep it dead where you hit it. Watch this. I'm going to keep the cue ball right where the 1 is and jump it hard. Look at this. One mistake people make with that shot is they hit it too hard. About half as hard as you think is usually enough. All right, shot number 26 teaches you to handle the rails. We want to run these balls in order. I do this until I do it a couple times every day. If you're on the improve, all of these shots should be done 10 times or so if you're real serious about pool. This is a real creative exercise because to get on this 6 ball last is really tough. You got to be perfect on the 5 or you have to create your way out of it. The rest of this is nice speed control, nice center ball, move it over there. Now this is the tricky shot because if you're perfect on the 5, you can get over there. But if you're not perfect, there's 3 dozen ways to get back over for the 6. Let's see how I do it then. Oof, I didn't hit it hard enough. This is going to be scary. Oh, we can get in there. We can kick the 6 at our hole from here. And kick the 6 at our hole. This really teaches you a lot about the corners, how to maneuver around the corners, how to avoid those scratches. Let's see if I can keep it in. Pure. See how straight that ball is? Pure. I hit it. Look at that. You move the 6 right over there. We're going to take that because you're in trouble. You recovered. You got out of trouble. Don't miss this one. Straight. Straight through. There it is. Straight through. Shot number 27, the last shot of this workout, and one of the most important. This shot is hit just with the same speed as shot number 1, 1 Q-tip below center. No more. This is not extreme low English. For me, extreme low English is 1 Q-tip below center. This is a pure hit with the same speed as shot number 1 properly executed. You're going to draw this ball back down table. I'm going to put the paper over there in a second, and I'm going to show you what you got to do. You're going to draw this ball back down table and land on this paper without touching the end rail. If you touch the end rail, you can definitely scratch. If you scratch, you need a job. You got to avoid scratches at all costs. Straight, dead level stroke, dead level delivery through that cue ball. It's so important. If you bring the Q-tip through the cue ball with a dead level stroke, what you put on a cue ball is imparted to the cue ball. You can put so much more low English with a dead level stroke than you ever can elevating the butt end of your cue. Dead level, 1 Q-tip below center, same stroke. This is the hardest you ever need to hit a ball in this game. Right up, back to the paper. You can get where you can do this 9 times in a row. I do this all the time. Well, I'm almost got to the paper. I'm on it. We're going to take it. Okay. Let's get this up on the paper. Now I'm going to be correcting because I almost missed the paper. I want it on the paper without hitting the end rail. If you hit the end rail, whenever I hit the end rail, I go over and I make myself do them all over again. That's when you really want to be a champion. You want to do these every time. When you don't, you go back and you do them all over again. This shot is the best shot there is. When you go to a tournament to warm up, when you go to a tournament, when you're playing somebody, I don't care if they laugh at you in the pool. You take the balls and you go on a table for 20 minutes or 30 minutes before you start the tournament, before you're playing with somebody, and you shoot this shot. When you're warming up like that, you can even draw the ball back till it hits the rail. As long as you're drawing in a straight line, you draw the ball the length of the table. You have to be in stroke to do this. This has to be hit perfectly. You groove your stroke before you compete by doing this. If you're a good player, a decent player now, if you can do this at all, try this. Shoot this in 40 times, 30 or 40 times before you compete. Call me up on the phone and tell me what it did for your game. This warm-up puts you in stroke. Don't ever go to play compete again without doing at least this first. You can do a couple of the other shots, but this is so important because you can't hit it bad and make it work. You have to groove that stroke in there. Concentrate on the ball. Straight through the ball. Don't be trying to give it this last minute extra quarter Q-tip or low English. Your brain's going to try and make it correct. You think you need more low English. Forget about it. You don't need more low English. You need the pure hit. You need to deliver that Q-tip dead level through the ball. Dead level makes this cue ball deflect up, and it comes just sailing right back. Sailing, ooh, didn't hit it too hard. I'm okay. I'm okay. I won't have to do them all over again. Oh, I punish myself for doing them all over again. I hope you realize the tools that you're learning here. You pay attention to this tape. Use this tape. Don't watch it. Don't fall asleep on the couch. Get your paper and pencil out. Diagram these shots. Work with these shots till you have them memorized. This is shot number 27. I can't hit that. Don't hit that. Okay, let me get through just this one more without drawing it all the way over. See what I did when I'm compensating for that one that almost didn't make the paper, and I'm hitting it harder. And you think that little extra speed it's easy to feel in your body. You know when you've hit it too hard. Your body's a remarkable instrument. Come on, don't hit oh, look at this. No, I'm all right. Oh, God, thank you. I stopped in time. All right, that was the Tight Pocket 60-minute workout for 9-ball. These are definitely the tools that you need to assemble a killer 9-ball game. On the next tape in this series, we're going to show you how to put these tools together in a devastating run-out game. Remember that this is an aggressive workout. 9-ball is an aggressive game. It's a game of opportunities for opportunists. Take the opportunity now to begin using this tape today, because this tape will change the way you play 9-ball forever.
Speaking of opportunities, how many of you see the 9-ball in the side here? It's one thing playing 9-ball, you've got to use all of the shots. Listen, if any of you have any problems with this tape, if there's something you understand, any questions you have, please call me at area code 708-747-4963. I'll answer all calls.